In previous video, we have learnt about the introduction of tracing changes through 1,000 years in history. Now, we will learn about this chapter deeply. The first one is new and old terminology. Historical records exist in a variety of languages which have changed considerably over the years. Medieval Persian, for example, is different from modern Persian. The difference is not just with regard to grammar and vocabulary. The meanings of words also change over time. For example, take the term Hindustan. When the term was used in the 13th century by Minhaj Siraj, a chronicler who wrote in Persian, he meant the areas of Punjab, Haryana, and the lands between the Ganga and Yamuna. He used the term in a political sense for lands that were a part of the dominions of the Delhi Sultan. The areas included in this term shifted with the extent of the Sultanate, but the term never included South India with it. By contrast, in the early 16th century, Babur used Hindustan to describe the geography, the fauna, and the culture of the inhabitants of the subcontinent. In 14th century, poet Amir Khusrau used the word Hind to describe geographical and cultural entity of India. Presently, the term Hindustan is understood by India, the modern nation. Historians have to be careful about the terms they use because they meant different things in the past. For another example, a simple term like foreigner. It is used today to mean someone who is not an Indian. In the medieval period, a foreigner was any stranger who appeared, say, in a given village, someone who was not a part of that society or culture. A city dweller, therefore, might have regarded a forest dweller as a foreigner, but two peasants living in the same village were not foreigners to each other, even though they may have had different religious or caste backgrounds. In Hindi, the term Pardesi might be used to describe such a person, and in Persian, it was called Ajnabi. Let's see the second topic, historians and their sources. In this book, we will read about the following 1,000 years from roughly 700 to 1750 CE. Historians use different types of sources to learn about the past depending upon the period of their study and the nature of their investigation. Some continuity in the sources used by historians for the study of this period. They still rely upon coins, inscription, architecture, and textual records. The number and variety of textual records increased dramatically during this period. What is archive? A place where documents and manuscripts are stored, called an archive. Today, all national and state governments have archives where they keep all their old official records and transactions. The two main sources used by historians for the study of this period, archaeological and literary. Archaeological sources available to us include monuments, temples, coins, tombs, ornaments, and paintings. Let's know the value of paper. When was paper more expensive and easily available? In the 13th century or the 14th century? In the middle of 13th century, a scholar wanted to copy a book. He did not have enough paper. So, he washed the writing of a manuscript he did not want, dried the paper and used it. In 14th century, the paper was easily available and thus was cheaper as compared to the 13th century. In the medieval period, paper gradually became cheaper and more widely available. People used it to write holy text, chronicles of rulers, letters, and teachings of saints, petitions, and judicial records, and for registers of accounts and taxes. Manuscripts were collected by wealthy people, rulers, monasteries, and temples. They were placed in libraries and archives. These manuscripts and documents provide a lot of detailed information to historians, but they are also difficult to use. This all became the sources of history for historians. But how it was circulated? Because there was no printing press in those days. So, scribes copied manuscripts by hand. If you have ever copied a friend's homework, you would know that this is not a simple exercise. Sometimes you cannot read your friend's handwriting and are forced to guess what is written. As a result, there are small but significant differences in your copy of your friend's work. Manuscripts copying is somewhat similar. As scribes copied manuscripts, they also introduced small changes, a word here, a sentence there. These small differences grew over centuries of copying until manuscripts of the same text became substantially different from one another. This is a serious problem because we rarely find the original manuscript of the author today. We are totally dependent upon the copies made by later scribes. As a result, historians have to read different manuscript versions of the same text to guess what the author had originally written. On occasion, authors revised their chronicles at different times. In 14th century, chronicler Ziauddin Barani wrote his chronicle first in 1356 and another version 2 years later. The two differ from each other, but historians did not know about the existence of the first version until 1971. It remained lost in large library collections. இரு. A manuscript is a handwritten document, and from ancient text to medieval maps, anything written down for study would have been in the form of manuscripts. In the past, manuscripts were mostly written on stones and palm leaves and sometimes on handmade papers. What are the difficulties today historians face in using those old manuscripts? Manuscripts are in destroyed condition. The meaning of the word are disordered. Some manuscripts are written in poor handwriting which cannot be. Look at this painting. A painting of a scribe making a copy of a manuscript. This painting is only 10.5 centimeter by 7.1 centimeter in size. Because of its size, it is called a miniature. Miniature paintings were sometimes used to illustrate the text of manuscripts. They were so beautiful that later collectors often took the manuscripts apart and sold just the miniatures. Okay children, next topic we will see in next video.